And we are here, Monterey on tonight. That's Bobby Darin. If you don't know who Bobby Darin is, Google it. Because there's a lot of people that don't know Bobby Darin. My goodness gracious. It makes me feel old.
Well, it's funny that you're talking about age. What an appropriate segue for our topic tonight.
Marc Eisenhart is my final guest of Monterey on Tonight, show number 126. He is a partner, appellate specialist, Gates, Eisenhart, and Dawson. And where are you guys located?
Well, we have two offices. Gary, our main office is in San Jose, and I head up our satellite office right here in Monterey.
Ooh, you are a smart man. I can tell already because you decided to be here and not in San Jose.
We love it. We absolutely love it.
How did that all come about?
We have been coming down to Monterey all the way from San Jose for decades, since even before we got married 33 years ago.
And that's you and your lovely wife?
Maria.
And is she in the green room?
No, she isn't,
My
actually. But
goodness.
I think she's watching.
Hi, Maria.
And we just always love coming down. So when an opportunity came to, give it a shot, we did.
Yeah,
And,
well, you made a good choice, my friend.
Absolutely.
You like the traffic here instead of San Jose?
Traffic? What is that?
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah, no kidding. But anyway, did you hear him at the very beginning of the interview? He said, we're going to talk about seniors because that's kind of what he specializes in.
One of the areas we
One of the
practice for
areas.
sure.
But it's a great area
And
to
it's,
specialize in.
it is a very busy area.
Very busy. And tell us why. Tell those people out there in TV land now why.
All right. It's called financial elder abuse.
We hear it all the time.
Uh-huh. And you don't actually have to be an elder. You could either be A, 65 and older, or B, you're younger than 65, but you have a medical or a physiological or cognitive condition.
Yeah.
So you're called a dependent adult.
A dependent adult.
Yes, you rely on other
And
people.
who makes that judgment?
It's a fact decision, but you kind of know when somebody needs help getting by.
Uh-huh.
And or you're over 65 or older.
Is 65 the cutoff date? Is like ship them out of here because they're 65?
The legislature said, okay, we're going to start at 65, and so that's what they did.
Oh, really?
But again, if you have certain conditions and you're relying on other people, you can be younger.
Really?
And what we're saying is those are protected people. So if there's other people out there that are taking advantage of them in some way, that's
a no-no.
That a no nice.
That's a non-nice.
And we see this happening in two different ways. Either while they're alive, somebody is getting gifts or transacting business in a very unfair way. It could be anybody, somebody who's a neighbor. It could be a caregiver, very often. It could be an attorney. It could be an accountant. Or it could be their children. Believe it or not, that happens a lot. And then the other thing we see it in is, okay, maybe they didn't take their house or their money, but there's something in the will for them. There's something in the trust for them. And so after they pass away, all of a sudden, the children or the other natural objects of their bounty, as we say, the people who you would expect to inherit, look at the trust and they go, what is that? Why are we not inheriting? Why is the caregiver or the person inheriting? And so that then starts this ball rolling, usually with litigation.
With litigation. Now, you're going into some great areas here right now, because if there is a trust,
correct,
and everything is all spelled out in the trust, and so the children
right,
of this particular
right,
person knows that they're in the trust, but then a caregiver in the home who's taking care of this person decides that they want to get their hands in that person's pocket. How do they generally do that, Marc? How does that happen?
It's two words. We call it undue influence. Now that's it's a loaded term, and it's extraordinarily fact specific. And so we look at, first of all, the elder. we look at, well, how old are they? Do they have certain frailties? We call them vulnerabilities. Are they vulnerable to undue influence? And by the way, the definition of undue influence is quite simply that somebody is doing something, putting pressure or doing something to cause the elder to do something that they otherwise wouldn't do.
Aha.
And in the case of a will or a trust, it's putting them in the will or the trust, maybe to the exclusion of other people.
Oh, that's a no-no.
And we look at these factors. So the one factor is the vulnerability. And people can be vulnerable for different reasons. One is physically. They have, they could have a serious physical condition, and it makes them dependent on other people. So they have to rely on other people, and that starts to create potentially a petri dish for undue influence. It could be an emotional or a cognitive problem. So, we get older, our memory starts to go, and we become more vulnerable to somebody suggesting something that way. And sometimes it's not even physical or cognitive, but it's emotional. They're going through a really hard time, and they're very vulnerable because they've had a loss or something like that. After we move on from vulnerability, there are other factors.
Oh my
It's very
goodness.
interesting. We look at, hey, what's the relationship between the person who might be taking advantage of this elder and the elder? Do they have what's called a fiduciary relationship or some kind of obligation to look out for them? Many times you might know, and it's fine, children and other people are the power of attorney for their parents. That's
Yes.
that kind of a relationship where you have a legal obligation. And then we look at, what is the person doing? What are we call it tactics, right? Are they isolating the elder? Can the family members not have contact with them, right? That's a big one. Are they doing other things when they are drafting the will or the trust or the amendment to the will or the trust? Are they going with them? Are they in the room with the attorney while the attorney is working on
Making
drafting
notes,
it?
yeah.
Not a good look, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's kind of how
So
it works.
this is, you specialize in this kind of work for folks, and your firm is located here in Monterey and San Jose.
Correct.
So let's give the name of the firm. Let's put the website up there. There it is, and we'll go ahead and tell everyone out there in TV land about your firm.
So I'm very proud of our firm. It's called Gates, Eisenhart, Dawson. You can kind of see some of them. Mr. Dawson there is all the way on the right. I'm all the way on the left. And Mr. Gates, Bill Gates, of course, he would say he's the Bill Gates. But
Seattle Bill Gates.
Yes, and,
Microsoft.
one of our associates, Mr. Bill Kroll, he's fabulous. And so we do litigation.
Okay.
That could be trials, it could be arbitrations, and one of the things I specialize in is appeal. So sometimes, what's an appeal? That's just somebody didn't get the result they wanted in the trial court, and so they take it up on appeal, and we call that an appeal.
And if someone is watching our show tonight,
Sure.
and they suspect now that someone, a caregiver with one of the family members, is not doing things the way they should be with that particular elder person, how do you start the process of overlooking a trust and making sure that something isn't going to be changed in that trust? How does that happen?
Yeah, it's a very tricky thing, right? Because you may talk to your mom or your dad who's got people looking out for them, and you think that they understand the relationship here with a caregiver, or and I keep saying caregiver. It can be anybody.
I see.
Gary, it could be one of their children. It happens all the time. One child is living with the parent because they need help, and all of a sudden things aren't going too well, and the other siblings, the
Are
other
wondering,
children are going,
"What's going on?"
and get a big surprise.
Yeah.
And so try to look for some of the signs, right? Isolation. Is it hard to get to speak to the elder, your parent or whoever?
Without the other party being in the room.
Excellent. I like you. You've done this before.
Oh yeah, I've been down the road.
That's very, very helpful. Also, you have to think about the other side.
Yes, oh,
What
yes.
if you're the neighbor or the friend or the caregiver and you're not doing anything untoward, but the elder wants to give you something.
Yeah.
They want to give you a gift of cash or even give you one of their properties. You know, when we get older, some of us accumulate a lot of wealth. And so they say, oh, I want you to have this property.
I'm going to give this to you.
Right.
I want you to have it.
Or I want you to be in my trust or
Yeah.
my will.
Yeah.
The thing you want to do there is immediately go to the natural objects of the bounty, meaning the children or the other very close.
Who's involved in this family?
And just be very up and up. Say, hey, your dad, your mom is wanting to give me these gifts.
Time for a meeting.
And, you know, I just need you to know about that. And, you know, before I take a gift. Because even when you're innocently receiving a gift, when children find out about it, they don't like it, and you end up getting sued. So you want to take some precautions. So
Sounds like you are a specialist in this field.
Well, I do litigate it quite a bit, and it every time I think I understand, you know, how this works, I get a new case.
Oh, my
Every
goodness.
case is different. But there are some commonalities, right?
Yeah. My goodness.
So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it's a big problem because it takes a lot of delicateness, like even among siblings. I'll give you another good example. My advice is if you have siblings and you're going to borrow money from a parent or both of your parents, if you are going to transact business, which happens very often, a lot of times families are in business together.
Yes.
Whatever you do, make sure all your siblings know about it before.
Yeah.
And if any of them pipe up and they have an issue, at least you're talking about it. And you get out any wrinkles, if you will, now and not later when you're grieving, you've lost a parent, and the knives come out and the lawsuits start.
And you've seen a lot, I'll bet, in your practice.
Oh, quite a bit.
How many years have you been practicing?
We're coming up to 30.
30 years.
Yeah.
Where did you do your law studies?
Santa Clara Law School.
Santa
Go
Clara.
Broncos.
Yeah,
Yep.
good for you. Right up the street. Yeah.
So yeah, we had I enjoyed that.
Well, it sounds like you've been having some fun doing what you do because obviously you're pretty good at it and you've seen a lot. And these are the kind of people that you need to know about. If something should happen and come up, you can find Marc.
I love what I do. I do.
I could
love
tell.
it very much.
I could tell when you walked in the studio. I said, "This guy loves what he does."
Oh, and I should say one thing for public, sort of my little PA.
Okay, go on.
It's not just the civil attorneys. If you think that something's going on with an elder or a dependent adult, and there's a lot of hanky-panky going on, if you will, and you think that somebody's taking advantage, you can also call the police. It is
Really?
It's a crime, and we have district attorneys that investigate and prosecute those cases as well.
So you are open at any time to just say, "I'm going to call the police on this particular situation, elder abuse or whatever you want to call it,"
That is correct.
and they will take a look at it. The
Usually,
DA will actually take a look at a case.
every case is different. Sometimes there's already a civil case going on, and so the police might step back and go, "Well, you're in the civil arena," and sometimes not. Yeah, so it just depends.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. So if you have any questions, Marc's the guy. One more time on the website, Dylan, so we can find him here in Monterey and up in San Jose. Do you go up to the San Jose office often?
Not often, but we go.
Yeah.
We go. You know, that's one of the great things that came out of COVID because while many businesses started having remote work and remote conferencing, courts have been lagging behind.
Aha.
And so with COVID, they had to catch up. So we now quite often appear in court remotely. But I go up there. Absolutely.
Now, you say appear in court remotely. Do they let you come in on a Zoom call?
100%.
You can.
100%. It's great.
Wow. So
But sometimes I love going into court.
you like to be
I love going in person. And if it's a trial or anything like that,
you're
as
gonna
opposed
be-
to a
you're
quick
gonna be-
appearance,
yeah.
you're going to be in court. Yeah.
Well, good. Well, it's been wonderful to have you here tonight.
I had a good time.
Maybe you and I should be talking about something that I have in mind that I might want to use you.
Well, thank you so much. I had a good time.
It's a pleasure to have you here, Mark.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you. Stay right where you are. We're going to play one more. We have a video, Dylan, don't we, that we want to play? We've kind of
Well,
put.
I think we're going to play the music first, and I think we're going to come back and intro.
Okay. All right. Music first, and then we're going to come back with a video before Dylan's on tonight.